On today's show, I'm continuing my series ranking the Rangers' top 30 prospects, talking about a couple guys who've already made their big league debuts, some youngsters with really high ceilings, and maybe the most intriguing pitching prospect in the Ranger system. All that and more on this episode of Locked On Rangers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are locked onto the Texas Rangers, the first and best daily Rangers podcast. I'm Bryce Patrick, a cripplingly addicted Texas Rangers fan, covering this team for 11 seasons, including all 6 as the founder and host of this podcast. Thank y'all so much for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. If you're not already, you can follow me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick. You can follow the show at Locked On Rangers. Hit subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and on YouTube, where the best way you can help grow the show is to comment nearly any single thing below. Now, before we get into the next 6 prospects on my Rangers top 30 prospect list, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Now, thankfully, the Rangers have not made any more moves since signing Chris Martin to a deal. I talked a little bit on in not quite emergency, but just a little bonus episode for you I recorded yesterday afternoon talking about the Martin deal, about the Rangers saying that they're done building out their pen, why I'm not sure that's necessarily true, and how that Chris Martin signing affects the rest of what the Rangers will do this offseason, if they will even do anything else. There's also some news last night, not Rangers related, but just tangentially AL West related. Justin Verlander signing a 1-year, $15 million deal to go to the San Francisco Giants. Weird. Sure. Confusing. Justin Verlander's time, it seems like it's finally actually done in Houston. Unless he starts pitching well and the Giants are out of it and the Astros trade for him again at midseason in 2025. But I don't really think that's going to happen again. But again, I didn't think it was going to happen the first time. Anyway, let's get into my top 30 Rangers prospects. We left off at number 19 on this list, so we pick up at number 18, a prospect who has already made his big league debut. That's right, it is utility infielder slash outfielder slash whatever you need him to do, Jonathan Ornelas. Now you may be thinking, okay, a guy who hit, 216 in the big leagues last year, that's the number 18 prospect in this system. Yeah, kind of a little bit of state of this system, but also a testament to Jonathan Ornelas. I think the offensive ability there is better than his baseline stats are indicating. I really think that there's something else in there. Now, will the Rangers end up tapping into it and finding out? We'll see. Remains to be seen. But the really interesting thing about Ornelas is not only that, but his floor is so high. His floor is incredibly high. He is a great makeup guy. The Rangers drafted him in the 3rd round of the 2018 draft, heading into his age 25 season. He was born and raised in Arizona. He is bilingual. He is beloved by everybody in the clubhouse, at every clubhouse he's ever been in. Everybody loves this guy. And he plays a bunch of different positions, and he plays them all very, very well. He's not just a passable shortstop. He's a good shortstop. He's not just a passable second baseman or third baseman. He's good there. In center field, he's pretty good. I haven't seen him all that much to make a firm judgment, but he's played at least 40 games in the minor leagues in center field. And so if he's got that kind of positional versatility, that's a very, very valuable thing. He also has a pretty good approach. He doesn't swing and miss all that much. And even though he doesn't walk as much as you'd love, doesn't have an elite speed tool that he could kind of use as a pinch runner. He's going to be a good late defensive substitution. Kind of probably a career backup utility infielder, but a solid one. And maybe he's not that, because you look at his baseball savant page, and the thing that jumps out very quickly is, there's not a whole lot of red on his page. Mostly a bunch of blue. Not a great strikeout rate, not a great walk rate, not elite bat speed or expected slugging percentage or launch angle, sweet spot, or things like that. But the thing that really sticks out is this guy hits the ball hard. He hits it really hard. incredibly hard. In terms of his hard hit rate, where he's hitting the ball at least 95 miles an hour or more, he's doing that 56% of the time. That's near top of the league rate. Average exit velocity, 94.3 miles per hour. 94.3, that's nearly averaging a hard hit ball. That's about what Corey Seager's doing in terms of his average exit velocity. Now, granted, it's a lot fewer plate appearances. It's 37 at-bats last year and 7 the year before, and he still doesn't have a big league home run. And the reason for that is that he hits the ball right into the dirt, right into the ground. And if the Rangers could fix that, get some lift in there, hit the ball in the air, hit it over the infield, not just straight into the dirt, then it matters a whole lot more that he's hitting the ball hard. And that results in some more home runs, some doubles, some triples, just all kinds of good stuff that you're trying to do at the plate. You add that, and even if he doesn't walk a whole lot and he strikes out at, not the best rate, then that's a quality player. That's an everyday player. Now, is he going to do that? Is he going to become that? Is he going to suddenly figure out how to start hitting the ball in the air? Maybe not, because he hasn't really done it all that much at the minor league level either. I mean, his best minor league season for a full complete season, he looked really, really good in the Arizona Complex League, right when he was drafted, age 18, 48 games that year, 3 home runs, 4 triples, which is hard to do in 48 games, and 849 OPS. That was the best OPS for a single season in any level for him. Then his best, full season, playing more than 50 games, 123 games in Frisco back in 2022 as a 22-year-old, 785 OPS. The on base has been there in the minor leagues, 346 career on base, which is solid, shows you his kind of approach, shows you that he, can work a count. His strikeout rate isn't anything too crazy at the minor level in terms of a bad way. His walk rate is not quite as high as you would ideally like it to be, but it's fine, it's passable. And when you combine that with elite defense in the middle infield, whether it's second, short, third, center field, plus the potential to hit some balls hard and, make some offensive impact, that's why he's up here. Because at the very worst, he's already a pretty darn good utility infielder. If the Rangers didn't have Josh Smith and Ezekiel Duran, you feel really good about Jonathan Ornelas being your everyday utility guy to kind of step up. Now, you wouldn't feel as good if the Rangers, had Corey Seager missing 50 games and you needed Jonathan Ornelas to step in and be your everyday guy and you're trying to compete for a championship. That he can't step up and, almost mirror that level of production or give you something like Josh Smith did last year when Josh Young went down, or like Ezekiel Duran did for, a month when Corey Seager went down in 2023. He's probably not going to give you that. Maybe he can if he starts hitting the ball in the air, but probably not. But that's why this guy is on here. The clubhouse make up exactly what you want in a utility infielder. Now, let's get into this next prospect really quick. Actually, no. We're going to wait. We're going to wait to talk about Jesus Lopez, the Rangers' number 17 prospect, a catcher who's got some really, really intriguing upside and had a very weird season. I'm not quite sure what to make of just yet. Talk about all that and more right after this. This show is brought to you by Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or paying for twice? That's definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place. Whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year, Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Shout out to the Airders making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. On tomorrow's show, I'll be back with the next to last part of my top 30 prospect rankings. Got some interesting prospects on there, including a couple of left-handed pitchers that I think are going to be maybe even very important parts of the Rangers rotation the next 5 years. I think at least one of them definitely will be. Now let's get into the number 17 prospect. Like I said before the break, Jesus Lopez, a catcher, a teenage catcher. Not a whole lot of catchers in this system, or finding any catching prospect that's worth their salt is a difficult thing. But Lopez spent last year as a 19-year-old in Down East, which is now the Hub City Spartanburgers, the Rangers' low A affiliate in the Carolina League, unless that team is somehow going to go to the Sally League and Hickory is going to switch it up and go back and forth. I don't think that's going to be the case. But all that to say, Jesus Lopez had an up and down season last year. He's had, an interesting first 3 seasons of his professional career. He is 19 years old, heading into his age 20 season. He's turning 20 at the end of May. He was born in 2005. He bats left-handed. He throws right-handed, of course, because he is a catcher signed out of Venezuela. He's a guy with a lot of pop, and being a 19-year-old in full season ball is impressive. But doing it as a catcher is very impressive. Now, he hasn't had all that much time in his minor league career so far. Spent 3 seasons so far in the minors. Age 17 was the second most games that he's played, and he only played in 38 games that year in the Dominican Summer League. Had a 768 OPS, 3 bombs in 138 plate appearances. Solid numbers for a teenage catcher. Then he comes stateside in 2023 as an 18-year-old in the Arizona Complex League. Only plays in 13 games, but puts up massive power numbers in that very short span. 53 plate appearances, 3 home runs, 2 triples, 3 doubles. A slash line of 289, 396, 644. Again, only 13 games, but very impressive stuff. This year, played a lot more games, had a couple of different stints on the IL, tracking down what those injuries are. At that level, they're not reported. It's just, this guy's on the IL. This guy's off the IL. There's not a whole lot of information there. The first IL stint put him on the IL for 10 days. The second stint, he was on the IL for a little bit over a month. So he played 38 games of the 55 that he played last year in the first half. And in that first half, when he was mostly healthy, he had 12 of his 16 extra base hits, slash line of 276, 331, 401. That is a 732 OPS in a not very, offensive heavy league. Carolina League is kind of about average, plays maybe a little bit more for pitchers, but doing that in full season ball as a teenager, as a catcher, that's impressive. This guy hits for decent power, more than decent power, and already showing up in games. Love to see that. I know it's only 3 home runs in 55 games, but the second half, he missed a lot of time. He only played in 17 games in the second half and had a 462 OPS. Just was not putting together that many games. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts the season again with Down East, or I guess the Hub City Spartanburgers. But he's a guy whose defensive skills, they're fine. They're fine for a 19-year-old and a catcher. The offensive upside is, maybe a catcher who's hitting 20, 25 home runs and is an average defensive catcher. Again, he's so young and so far away. He still got time to refine those receiving skills. They're pretty solid for a guy of his age at his experience level. He's still so raw, but seeing, this kind of confidence in the Rangers, putting a guy at that age, at that position, in that level against that level of competition, that shows how much they like this guy. So still not a whole lot that we've learned from this guy, but the reports are encouraging. He, at this time next year, he could be, maybe as high as 15 spots higher on this prospect list. Actually, that would put him at number 2. I don't think he's going to get quite that high, but who knows with a catcher of this age at this level. Number 16 prospect is a guy who you've seen at the big league level. That's right. It is former first round pick Justin Foscue, the second baseman / third baseman / first baseman / probably DH. Heading into what will be his age 26 season, turns 26 on March 2nd. He has spent some time in the big leagues. Did it go well? Absolutely not. Did it go terribly? Yes. Did he, put together quality at bats? No. It was a rough first stint in the big leagues for Justin Foscue. The Rangers' first-round pick in 2020, a draft class that is looking, this time last year looked like an absolute steal. I mean, 2 of those 5 picks that the Rangers had helped the Rangers swing a trade for Jordan Montgomery, who helped them win a World Series. And then one of the other picks in that draft, their second-round pick, Evan Carter, looked like maybe future Hall of Famer, who knows, leading the Rangers, sparking them in September, sparking them in October to their first ever World Series championship, hitting third as a 21-year-old on the first ever championship in franchise history. Who knows what will happen with Evan Carter, but Justin Foscue hadn't made his debut yet, and it was viewed as a safe pick. There were quite a few risky picks by the Rangers in that draft, and the Rangers were patting themselves on the back for saying, yeah, we crushed that draft. Everybody that we got is going to be exceptional. Well, that's not always the case. The Rangers' 4th and 5th round picks aren't looking incredibly hot right now. Their 4th round pick isn't looking incredibly hot at the moment, but still, Foscue, even though he looked overmatched, there have been recently plenty of big leaguers who had exceptional prospect pedigree and got absolutely obliterated in their first stint in the big leagues. That's just kind of where things are at this point. The gap between AAA and the majors has never been bigger. You look at the guy who I thought was going to be and maybe should have been the AL Rookie of the Year in 2024, Colton Cowser, who was a first-round pick by the Baltimore Orioles, 5th overall out of Sam Houston State. Kind of similar profile of just a very polished college hitter. Now, Cowser had a lot higher prospect status than Justin Foscue, not just because he plays an actual defensive position and plays it well, a premium one at that, but offensive upside was a lot higher there, and he had done a lot better in the minor leagues than Justin Foscue. He spent less time in the minor leagues, but still, he came up. You look at what Colton Cowser did in 26 big league games in 2023, he looked just about as bad as Justin Foscue did. He had a .433 OPS in 77 games in 2023, his first stint in the big leagues. Then comes back in 2024, has a .768 OPS, 24 bombs in 153 games. He looked much, much better. I mean, heck, you even saw it with the Rangers and their top prospect this year in Wyatt Langford, who, looked a bit overmatched at times the first couple months. Not quite this level of overmatched, but it is a big, big jump between AAA and the majors right now. In terms of a role for Foscue carving out one in this Rangers big league team, I mean, really the only spot that you can see him getting regular plate appearances is if he starts crushing lefties again and the Rangers think that he can do that at the big league level, then maybe he'll get a roster spot and be the Rangers DH platoon with Jock Peterson. Jock will hit against righties. Justin Foscue will hit against lefties. Defensively, he's maybe fine at second. I really don't think he's fine at third. He's passable in left field. Maybe he'd be okay at first. The power just needs to be there more for this to be a guy with higher prospect status. The fact that he's at 16 is more of an indictment on the system than it is a belief in him. But this guy has shown an ability to work very, very good at bats in AAA. I mean, he had a .420 on base percentage in 48 games in Round Rock this year. He also put up 9 home runs this year, a .897 OPS with PCL. Now, it's a little bit offensive heavy league, but this guy has shown at times when he gets on a power surge, this guy can hit like 5 home runs in a week. It's nuts, the level of power, and it's a little bit more sporadic than you'd like. But this guy doesn't strike out a whole lot in the minors. He works a lot of walks. He works quality at-bats, and that's a guy who could help a lot of different teams. Now, can he put it all together at the big leagues? Maybe. What's the best version of him in the big leagues? Maybe a left fielder that's giving you a 340, 350 on base percentage and can hit you 15 to 25 home runs, 25 being pretty generous there. Maybe 20 home run upside is the play. It was a safe pick. I didn't love it at the time. The rest of the Rangers draft in 2020 looks so darn good. It's willing to be forgiven, but I don't see how Foscue carves out too much of a role with the Rangers at the big league club. Again, it's hard to just judge 44 plate appearances and say, okay, this guy's done. Just trade him away, cut him. He sucks. Everything's done. It's a big old jump between AAA and the majors. I would expect for Foscue to get some time at the big leagues this year, and I'm thinking he'll look a whole lot less overmatched in his second attempt at big league ball, or at least second season in the bigs. Coming up, we got a couple more guys to talk about, 3 more guys actually, including the Rangers' top international signing of last year and maybe the most intriguing pitching prospect in this system. All that and more right after this. This show is brought to you by Game Time. You know, I love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy. One of my favorite memories this past year was going to a baseball game, and I guarantee you I will be having a few baseball games that I go to in 2025, and when I want to get those tickets, it can be such a hassle, but not with Game Time. Game Time takes the hassle out of getting tickets for any of your live events, whether you're looking to go to concerts, music, comedy, theater, or baseball games, as you probably are want to go to if you're listening to this podcast. They make it so simple. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Shout out to the Everydayers for making Locked On Rangers your first listen every single day. I'll be back with 2 more shows this week, filling out the rest of my top 30 Rangers prospects. Now let's get to the number 15 prospect on this list, a young outfielder, 17-year-old, soon to be 18. The gem of the Rangers 2024 international signing class, that is outfielder Paulino Santana, a youngster who was signed out of the Dominican Republic, trained for a little bit in Venezuela. Guy's listed at 6'2", 180 pounds, has played only center field and left field the vast majority of his time in center field. Last year, his first pro season in the Dominican Summer League as a 17-year-old, 53 games there, 20 stolen bases, 0 home runs, unfortunately, 4 triples though, 6 doubles. But the thing about this kid, he is so young. He doesn't turn 18 or didn't turn 18 until November 17th of this year. Born in 2006. I feel myself crumbling into dust simply saying that, but the approach from this youngster was very freaking good. 52 walks to just 38 strikeouts in 260 plate appearances at the Dominican Summer League level. A .465 on base percentage was downright fantastic. The best month he had this year was in July, 23 games in that month. Had a slash line of .355, .520 on base percentage, slugged .406. 21 walks to just 13 strikeouts in that month. This guy has a very, very good approach to the plate. Is he going to stick in center field? Probably. It seems like at this point, defensive instincts aren't great at this point. He is, 6'2". He's got some room to add some muscle to the frame. Didn't impact the baseball as much as you would like, but with pitchers with such fringy command, he took those walks. He took those free passes. He was not too proud to expand the strike zone and try and force something. He takes what he's given, and that is something that you love to see. Being so young at that level, working that kind of a walk rate. I mean, that was walking in basically a quarter, maybe 20% of his plate appearances. Yeah, 52 walks in 260 plate appearances. That is very darn impressive. Actually, exactly a 20% walk rate. Now, he's still so far away, and part of the MLB pipeline write-up on him was saying, oh, this guy could be someone who just absolutely jumps through the system, just flies through the system like Julio Rodriguez, which that's just a deeply unfair comp to quite literally anybody. MLB pipeline had him as the Rangers' number 10 prospect. He's still so far away. There's still so many questions about him. I mean, I have him this far down for that reason at number 15. He could jump up quite a bit next year. I would anticipate he probably starts the year in the Arizona Complex League. I was a little surprised that he didn't get the bump up when he was doing so well and was working so many walks. It didn't seem like he could, grow all that much from that kind of level of competition. But again, solid first season, still very young. The exit velocities that I have been hearing about what he was putting up was kind of, not super impressive, not exactly what you were wanting from a youngster. But again, he was 17. He was playing his first year at professional baseball. Still a long way to go, but that's why he is the Rangers' number 15 prospect. Of the guys in this system, outside of, Bam Bam, I'm pretty sure that I know that this guy has the highest ceiling of any Rangers position player prospect. And let's get to the number 14 prospect on this list. Been teasing him as the most intriguing, I don't know what to make of the Rangers pitching prospects in this system. Number 14, Jose Corniell. The Rangers acquired Jose Corniell from the Seattle Mariners in the Rafael Montero trade all those many years ago before he was traded to Houston. Corniell was the Rangers' minor league pitcher of the year in 2023, 101 and 2/3 innings, 119 strikeouts, just 31 walks, 10.5 Ks per nine, 2.7 walks per nine, and a 2.92 ERA. That's very impressive from a kid who was 20 years old and was 3 years younger than the average pitcher in the Sally League with Hickory. Spent most of his time there, 58 1/3 innings there versus 43 1/3 with Down East. Now, he did not pitch at all this year, underwent Tommy John surgery, UCL repair surgery. I believe it was the internal brace, the combination, whatever the surgery that Jacob deGrom did. He missed all of this season. He was rehabbing it at the minor league level, but could not completely rehab it, just had to have the surgery on June 19th. So he will miss a decent chunk, if not most, of 2025 as well. The Rangers put him on their 40-man roster at the end of 2023. Now, he doesn't throw particularly hard, but he knows how to pitch very, very well. He's got good off-speed stuff, got a good slider, got a pretty solid changeup, a couple of different fastballs, 4-seamer and 2-seamer. There's always relief risk, but again, he's still very, very young. He's still going to head into his age 22 season this year, missing a full season of development, and what'll end up being probably a season and a half is not great. But this is a prospect who the Rangers really, really like. It's been so long since he's pitched. It's hard to, put him much higher than this. But getting him for Rafael Montero might end up looking like an absolute steal by the Texas Rangers. Now, the last guy on this list for today's episode, number 13, an outfield prospect by the name of Alejandro Ozuna. Not Alejandro Rosario, two different Alejandros in the Rangers system. Actually, two different Alejandro's winning minor league player of the year awards for the Rangers. Alejandro Ozuna won the Rangers Tom Grieve minor league player of the year award, and Alejandro Rosario won the Rangers, I believe that is the Nolan Ryan pitcher of the year award. Ozuna is a youngster who was signed out of Mexico. His brother was a big league closer who we don't have to talk about because he played for that other team. But Alejandro Ozuna is his own player, and he is very good. And he had a fantastic season. Plays mostly center field, a little bit of left, a little bit of right. He's solid at all three different spots. He's going to be heading into his age 22 season, just turned 22 in October, signed out of Ahome, Mexico, left-handed hitter, left-handed thrower as well. He is listed at 5'9", 185 pounds. That seems about accurate. He spent time this year with three different teams: Hickory, Frisco, and surprise in the Arizona Fall League. In the Arizona Fall League, he absolutely lit it up, hitting over 300 on base of 438 in 25 games there. A couple home runs there. This was the year of power for Alejandro Ozuna. He had not hit for much power in his minor league career before this. 9 home runs was his career high. He did that back in 2022. In 2023 with Hickory, only played in 70 games there, but only had 5 home runs. This year, 102 games in the regular season, missed the first month of the season due to injury, but played 102 games between Hickory and Frisco, 18 bombs, 5 triples, 24 doubles, and 869 OPS, on base in the 360s, slugged over 500, and also stole 17 bags. So pretty decent speed, pretty aggressive on the base pass. I like what I saw from him defensively in center field. He's not going to win any gold gloves out there. He's probably not going to win any gold gloves in left or right field, but he is above average in all 3 spots. You know, he is not all that big, but he gets the most out of his game power. I mean, I think raw power, maybe it's 50. It's not quite 60. He's still so small, but he gets the most out of it. He has a good approach. He hits lefties okay as well. And, this is a really, really good season for him. Now, what's the ceiling on a guy like this? I don't know. Maybe a little bit more athletic David Murphy type. I mean, this is a guy who could, I think, be an everyday regular. More likely, he's a 4th outfielder, a really good 4th outfielder, which, again, if that's your minor league player of the year, you're not feeling super great. The number 13 prospect in your system, not, super great. But this is a guy who I feel very confident is going to have at least a 5-year big league career. I mean, the steps that he took forward this year, they were legit great steps. And, I know he said he had an 869 OPS, spent time between Frisco and Hickory. You may be thinking, okay, well, he probably just crushed it at Hickory and then did okay at Frisco. No, it was the opposite. He did much better against the harder competition. 57 games in Frisco, a 902 OPS versus the 45 games he played in Hickory, an 824 OPS. Significantly better in Frisco than in Hickory. Also had 9 home runs at each of the 2 different levels, a 379 on base in Double-A as a 21-year-old playing a defensively premium position, and also lighting it up in the Arizona Fall League. I mean, he was legit impacting the baseball. He had one game where he had a 5-hit game, almost had 2 home runs in that one. The first one just missed going over the wall, ended up being a double, but he stared at it like it was a home run. Next time he got all of that baseball and hit the absolute crap out of it, and a 5-hit day for him. This was a guy who just had a fantastic season. It took a lot to nudge out Bam Bam Sebastian Walcott as the Rangers minor league player of the year, but Alejandro Ozuna deserved it. I didn't talk as much about him as I should have during the regular season, but this was a legit great year from a guy who I didn't think a whole lot of. I don't know if he even made my top 30 prospect list last year. I think he was kind of fringy on it. Had a shoulder injury that robbed him of some time last year, which has also robbed him a little bit of that power, but this year came back with a vengeance, came back healthy, and legit earned himself dude status, prospect status, as a guy who does have the ceiling of an everyday regular, and I loved what I saw from him. I'm really excited to talk about the next 12 prospects in this list. I'll be back tomorrow with the next 6 on the list, and then on Friday with the final 6 rounding out my top 30. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all so much for listening and subscribing, and until next time, don't forget to enjoy baseball.